As a massive fan of Jonah Hill, both as an actor and as a filmmaker, I was naturally very curious about his latest feature, Outcome. The trailer didn't look the greatest, however, I had a lot of faith that this would turn out to be a pretty cool project. Let's hear what I have to say right now. So this film follows a character named Reef Hawk, played by Keanu Reeves. He is an actor that has been in the business basically his entire life, has struggled with heroin addiction, and is consistently worried about his perception from the wider audience, whether that be through online criticism, etc., etc. This character is constantly worried about being cancelled, of losing his reputation, and just trying to hold on to any kind of relevance that the Hollywood machine can give him. Now, this film, I think, is a huge disappointment. I have really enjoyed the last two directorial works of Jonah Hill. Mid-90s is one of my favorite films of all time. I've seen that movie a billion times now. And Stutz was a very interesting documentary. Not my favorite thing, not something that is inherently very rewatchable, but something that is deeply profound and personal, and something that was really well crafted. Outcome seems like this massive downward trajectory from Jonah Hill, who has made something that tries to be poignant, tries to be comedic and funny, but it doesn't really ever deliver on any of that enough to really justify existing. It becomes a very frustrating and empty film that I was just very disappointed by. And to really hold everything on a performance from Keanu Reeves to deliver on dramatic chops rather than action chops is a tough ask, because, let's be real, Keanu Reeves is a fantastic action actor. He is amazing in the John Wick films, The Matrix, but in terms of actual dramatic work, he's not the best, and sometimes that doesn't translate well on screen, the sort of persona that he brings. It's definitely perfect for some of the genre stuff that he does, and he works really well within that space, but I just felt like he was miscast in this role entirely. And I think some of the real poignant moments that this film tries to hit on, it just doesn't deliver on, because both the writing lets him down and the performance lets it down. Jonah Hill himself is in this movie as a supporting character, as this lawyer that is got this big fake beard and fake teeth, that everything about him seems so phony. Yet he has a very poignant arc as well. But once again, it doesn't hit because the humor actually works against this character and makes him out to be a real asshole. And you don't really care about this guy. You just feel like all of this is just fake Hollywood bullshit. And because of that, there's none of these characters here that are all that interesting. A lot of the movie is this Reeve character being told constantly about how much of an arsehole he is and everything that he did in his past, and all of that just seems so much more interesting than what we're getting in this movie, with a character that is deeply insecure and is really only just checking Google all the time to see if there are any more articles about if he's been cancelled or something like that. And I think there could be something very interesting there. I think the bones of this and some of what Jonah Hill is trying to go for could really work in this movie, but once again, none of it is really committed to enough to really impact anything, and all of this just becomes just an empty, hollow film with some half-assed messaging and the odd joke that may land here or there. Jonah Hill's style of comedy in this movie does work in the opening moments in introducing us to that character. I think he was really funny in those opening moments. But then after that, it just completely falls flat. And I think, once again, Keanu Reeves was completely miscast here. This thing tries to go for some real dramatic moments near the end of the movie, and it just doesn't really pay off that well. And it just kind of stumbles to a conclusion, which was just really disappointing. Also, Martin Scorsese is in this movie. I know that he has shared quite a bond with Jonah Hill, from The Wolf of Wall Street. And Martin Scorsese has supported Jonah Hill in some of his directorial efforts and helping him out and giving him advice and things like that. So seeing him in one of these movies is pretty cool. I just wish he was in a better Jonah Hill movie, because this, I think, is by far his weakest work as a director. And I think the performance that Marty gives is fine. It's not something to write home about, but yeah, it's a cool little cameo where he has a solid scene working with Keanu Reeves. And I think that was a bit of fun. I do think this film tries to have fun at times and point at some of the phoniness that comes with just that Hollywood lifestyle. But once again, all of these things are just so half-assed, with the celebrity cameos, deeply unlikable characters, and a lot of people telling you what to think rather than there being any sort of creativity in the filmmaking style to communicate that to the audience. And that's really frustrating, because once again, I think there are many elements of this that could really work, and I can see a really good movie in here. And it's just a shame. I really feel like going further back into this Reef Hawk character and the conflicts that he was facing then would have made a more interesting movie than the Reef Hawk character that we get in this movie and where he's situated. It's just kind of a guy that's just deeply insecure, that is being told he's a bad person constantly, and the film not really doing much to show you why, really, apart from maybe one scene. And yeah, as a whole, I think I'm really going to forget about this movie pretty quickly. I don't really recommend it, which is a shame, because as I said, I'm a big fan of Jonah Hill, but lately his work has just been really subpar, and this just continues that really disappointing run. And as a score, I'm going to give Outcome a 1.5 out of 5. This was just a waste of time, really. And once again, that just pains me to say. I wanted the best for this movie. I wanted it to be good, but it's not the sleeper hit I was hoping it would be. It nowhere near lives up to what Jonah Hill did with mid-90s, which once again felt really personal to him. And there may be some things that I'm sure are personal to Jonah in this movie, but it just doesn't really connect to the audience why that is, really, unlike what mid-90s did. So yeah, this was a letdown. Don't really recommend this one, unfortunately. And yeah, just go see something else, really. And those are my thoughts towards Outcome. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and let me know what you think of this latest run of Jonah Hill movies, whether that be his directorial efforts and the performances he's given lately. Because as for me, I think he's on a bit of a downward trajectory, unfortunately. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Remember to like and subscribe. It would be really, really helpful to subscribe to help in my application to become a member of the Australian Film Critics Association. The subscriber count would really help. So if you'd love to support the channel in a really cool way, I'd really appreciate that. But anyway, that's enough of my rambling. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.